Now we'll take a look at some principal chorus options.
So your general chorus, we have the 8 open diapason, the 4-foot octave, and the 15th, and then bringing on the mixture. You can make that chorus a little bit thicker by adding both the Spitz flute and the Doppel flute. By coupling the open diapason from the swell, which is of narrower scale. There's also a couple synthetic diapasons, which are made up of strings and flutes. The best one of the best ones is in the swell with the stop diapason, and adding the solitional to it gives you like a secondary, as well as the dulciana with the chimney flute on the choir. So you have multiple levels of diapasons here.
Over to the swell.
The swell chorus starts with an 8-foot open. We have a violina, flautino, and its own mixture. Modify the chorus by adding the stopped diapason and the solitional to give it some more body. And the 16-foot Borden gives us the fullness. The choir also has most of our solo stuff. It has a cornet décomposé. In many ways, you can use it. It starts based on the chimney flute and has a Spitz principal, Nassard, piccolo, and tierce, and you can use them in multiple combinations, like the chimney flute with the Nassard. Or the tierce. We also can, add the 4-foot to that to give it the pitch. With the 2-foot and the tierce and the tremolo. Can also be used in other ways with the choir tremolo is quite nice. You can hear some of those things with just the trem. So this being an organ that's made both of new and old, each one of the stops has a little story to tell about where it came from. The hook, as it was originally built here, was a smaller instrument, a smaller 2-manual, and now it has become a modest 3 that's remarkably flexible given its size. So most of the great things are original. The open diapason is original. The octave 15th is original. And the Borden, the Doppel flute is also original. The Borden is borrowed from the swell. That happens to be original as well. We added to that the Spitz flute to give you a another level of an accompanying stop, because the Dulciana that was in the choir, that is in the choir now, used to be in this spot, and we replaced it and moved it to the choir. The mixture is new to harmonize with this chorus, and the trumpet is original. It's now on a different chest, but it's still in the grate, and it's still original. In the pedal, we have a few original stops and then some additions. The 16-foot open diapason and the Borden are original to the organ. The Lieblich gedeckt is just a rename of the Borden, and it's borrowed from the Swell. The principal and octave are a nice, healthy 8-foot scale that set of pipes that we had in our stock that we added here and extended it to 4 feet. The 8-foot flute and the 4-foot flute are an extension and unit and borrowed from the Swell, which is also here in the grade. The 32-foot Grand Borden is actually the 16-foot pitch from the double open and the quint from the Borden played at the same time to give you the 32-foot overtones. The Contra Trombone was a set of old pipes that we had. It's a bottom octave, which we then added to this trombone, which is a brand new stop, which goes up to 16 and 8. And the bassoon at 16 foot is borrowed from the Swell, and it also plays here at 4 foot, also borrowed from the Swell.
Great.
The Swell is mostly original pipe work. We have the 16-foot Borden, which was original to the organ. It was, however, a tenor C stop, and it needed a bottom octave. And surprisingly, when we took the organ out of the chapel, we discovered in one corner of the gallery, stacked in a dusty pile, were the bottom octave of a 16-foot narrow-scaled Borden. We don't know if it was in the organ originally. It doesn't seem like it was. We don't know where the pipes came from, but they were in the gallery, and when we brought them back to the shop and cleaned them up and discovered that they were quite nice, they ended up in this organ as the bottom octave of the 16. The 8-foot open is original, stopped solitional are original, the celeste is original, and the flute harmonique is original. The violina is original, except we scaled it up a pipe or two to give it a little more body. The flautino is a new set of pipes. The mixture is brand new. It is 3 ranks instead of the 4 rank on the grate. It is slightly higher pitched and slightly smaller scale to give it a little bit brighter texture. The oboe is original, with the exception we added the bottom octave, brand new pipes for the 16-foot bassoon. And the trumpet is a new stop. The trumpet on the grate in the original organ was probably quite adequate, but as the organ grew, it became a little underwhelming and not quite big enough. So this trumpet was scaled larger. It's also brighter and louder, which works perfectly in the Swell box. The choir was an addition to this organ. Originally, in its 2-manual configuration, it did not have a choir. However, when we reconfigured the organ and moved the pedal work into the gallery behind the organ, it opened up a nice space underneath the Swell box where we could add another division. And so we put in a small choir chest and added the choir. The only pipes that are original to the organ in the choir is the Dulciana. That was moved from the grate, put on the choir here, given a little bit more wind. So it is a little bit stringier than a normal Dulciana, but it's just wonderful and works wonderfully here. Everything else is a combination of old pipes and some new. So the Chimney Flute is an old rank that we had in our pipe stocks. The Spitz Principal, Nessart and Tierce are the same. They're old ranks that are revoiced and repurposed in this organ. The 2-foot was brand new in order to go with the cornet. The Cremona was a crumhorn from another organ, and it was in our pipe stock, and we revoiced it and turned it into a Cremona which is giving it a character somewhere between an orchestral clarinet and a traditional crumhorn.